Salutations. I think that means hello or how you doing. When I lived in Morocco, I learned some Berber. Some of the oldest people lives in the Atlas Mountains. Manzakin. Hello. I like Manzakin Za. How you doing? That's some Berber. You go to Marrakesh, maybe say that to somebody. Manzakin Za. Now, if they're not Berber, they may not know that. But the Berbers live near Marrakesh. And when I lived in Morocco for, I don't know, 10 months, taught at an American school or English speaking school. Great people, love them, love the people. And if you're kind, like a lot of places in the world, if you're friendly and open and kind and respectful, they will be too. Or maybe they are first and then you return the favor. One of my funniest memories is I would get the Grand Taxi from the Medina, the old, I don't know, 1,000-year-old area where all the Jama al Fana is, which is a cacophony, oh my gosh, so much going on, and all the souks that are selling things down these really narrow, there's no cars. There will be a motorcycle and maybe a donkey with a cart. And you can get lost in 100 feet. I'm telling you, man, 100 feet, and you turn around the wrong way, and you're like, no, which way did I come from? And yeah, I got lost there. Me and my girlfriend got lost there a number of times. So just an interesting place, really nice people. Because of the Israeli-Palestinian war, and I don't know how many Palestinians have died right now, 40,000, 50,000. It's not really spoken of, but a lot of the Arab world, a lot of the Muslim world, they know how many, or they're at least more aware of these people being killed, and most of them innocent, a lot of them women and children. So it's really sad, and it's also a little more dangerous to travel if you're on the other side of that war, I guess. But I always had a good time in Morocco. But so the Grand Taxis are in this one area, and white vans, basically, or vans, with probably seating for 6, something like that, 8. And a guy'd wear a vest, and he's walking around. He's got the van, and there's a lot of these guys. He's walking around, Ben Garir, Ben Garir, Ben Garir. That's where I lived, in Ben Garir, 70,000, about an hour from Marrakesh. One of my best memories is I'm a goofy guy, and so I go up to him and Sahabi, Huya, brother. It's 2 different ways to say brother. Alhamdulillah, all praise to God. Anyway, kind of joked around, and I got his vest. He had the red vest, and I got the red vest, just kind of being goofy, joking. So now I'm walking around, this white guy from America, and I'm going, Bingare, 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 trying to get people in my taxi, just acting the fool. And I remember going up to this one guy, he's just walking, and I kind of grabbed him by the arm, and they're pretty physical, friendly people. So I grab him by the arm, and I kind of start moving him toward the van. Bingare, Bingare, hooyah, and he's kind of thinking it's funny, but some of the drivers around, are just, saying, wow, this white guy is crazy, and it's kind of funny. But that was fun, to have fun with people that you don't really speak the language. And if we want to say our color is different, I guess you could say our color was different. Actually, if you talk about white people and black people and brown people, their color is different in between them. So this idea of color is kind of crazy. But anyway, I like this. I like this position because you can see the trees and they're still really pretty. It's December 1st, but I think it's a maple tree. That maple tree is still hanging on and just adding color to the world. And you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Um, I'll be going on a trip in a couple of days, so I wanted to do this just to connect, just to engage, to communicate. I just did an album yesterday. It's going to be called Horse of a Different Color. It'll be online today or tomorrow. I remember one album I did, and I sent it to CD Baby. That's who I go through. And then they sent it to everybody else. And I think I did the album on Friday, and it was online on Saturday. One day. Somebody told me once, "Oh, it's hard to get your stuff on the internet." And I go, "No, it's easy. It's hard to get any money, but it's easy to get on. Because these people are like, hey, free content. We don't have to pay this guy. Maybe somebody will listen to it, even if they don't know what they're listening to. It's a joke. Our economics are a joke. One of the lines in the song, one of my songs that I sang was, "Your economics are killing us." And yeah, me, our economics are killing us. We're concentrating wealth, and we just throw up our hands like, we don't know what's going on. Yeah, you know what's going on. And if you're voting Republican, you're voting for tax cuts for the rich, because that's one of the main things they do. That's the first thing Trump did in his first time as president, and he will do that, and the Republicans will do that shortly after he's inaugurated. I'm guessing by February or March, that'll be done. Give your own self a tax cut. Why would you vote for somebody like that? So you're going to make the rich richer. What do you think that's going to do to the middle class and the poor? That's going to make their lives worse. They're going to be more like slaves, paupers, peasants, working for the rich, who will buy the next election because of the Supreme Court, the 5-4 decision by the Republicans, that you can spend as much money as you want on an election. And so billionaires, I don't know how much they spent to elect Trump, and a lot of the advertisements, of course, are negative. So people are dupes. We're kind of ignorant. We're easily seduced by, they're evil. This is evil. These guys are evil, and you're like, yeah, that's bad. It's easy to judge somebody else. That's bad. I'm going to go with the good guys. Easy to see dust in your neighbor's eye, not in the log in your own. Jesus said that. That's pretty clear. Yeah. Easy to say they're the enemy from within, instead of saying I'm a thief and a liar. So yeah, I don't predict the future, but you elect somebody that's dishonorable and immoral, and I think bad things are probably going to happen. So be good citizens every day. Never give up. Be good citizens. I think the Greeks said, if you're not a good citizen, you can't really be a good person, because you're part of the community. I believe that. A lot of people they vote not knowing very much about the issues, and then they go shopping on Black Friday like it's crazy, or they watch football like it's crazy. I watched a little football yesterday. I think they called a guy from targeting. It was a defensive back coming at the receiver. The receiver, I think, got the ball. Anyway, he comes through the air, and it's kind of helmet to helmet. So he's going toward this guy, helmet to helmet. And he would have been thrown out of the game. Good player. And there's a lot of money, involved in all these games. So upon further review, it was not targeting, but I just turned it off right then. It's like, wow, we really, really don't care about these players. We want to be entertained. If they get concussion after concussion, if they get brain damage, early dementia, and they need help the rest of their life. We don't give a shit. We just want to be entertained. Football is a great sport to watch, but it's so violent, and there are so many people that are getting what's it called, CTE, concussions that are so bad that, and they don't have to be that bad. If you have a number of them, they add up, and early dementia. You need help. Confusion, anxiety, sometimes violence. But we don't talk about that. We don't want to think about things that are hard and challenging. We don't want to talk about global warming. The number one issue on Earth was hardly spoken about during the election, except the guy that was elected said, we're going to drill, 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 and burn, burn, burn. Criminal. That is certainly criminal. Some ignorant people that act like it's not happening and saying that scientists are wrong. This guy is a lot of these talk show hosts or podcasters. What do they know? They've hardly been educated at all, especially in the sciences. But they know who advertises on their show. They know people don't want to hear the hard truth, so we're going to have to stop burning gas and oil and coal. And we're going to have to start looking at how do we help people whose homes are destroyed in these terrible storms. They're going to continue happening, even if we stop burning gas, coal, and oil right now. Denialism. It's like alcoholic denial. You don't want to talk about inequality. You don't want to talk about concentrated wealth in the top, tax cuts for the rich. You act like it doesn't matter. But then you'll start moaning about things cost too much. My rent went up. Yeah, your rent went up. You're paying rent to a multinational corporation, a hedge fund, a private equity firm, a billionaire. And you did it to yourself because you're watching football instead of learning about the issues. Sad. I want my people fed and clothed and housed and happy. And my people are everybody on this earth. And I think that's your people too. Okay, enough of that. Book review number 3 or 4. I just kind of enjoy it. Okay. James Joyce, Finnegan's Wake. Maybe the hardest book in English to read. But I like the way this guy writes. You are in the same boat of yourselves too. Get a Badoff or Trimspluricent, and you receptionated the most dislicious of Millisc, which had all flowered your drooping. Anyway, he's crazy. I think he read 7 languages and probably understood more than that. So he's brilliant. And I don't know enough about him. I kind of think he writes this to entertain himself. I think this is after Ulysses. I think he uses like 70 different languages in here, but it's hard to understand. And I just got it because I think I should have. I like Joyce. I think he's, so I got this too. A guide through Finnegan's Wake that tries to explain, this is what that means. This is what that means. Now, I've been reading American history around the Constitution. Not that, but I'm glad I have it. And I've looked at it some, but not lately. But here's my story. There was this is last year, a reading group in Los Angeles, I think. And this reading club took on Finnegan's Wake. They went through it as a group to understand it and read the whole thing. It took them, wait for it, 28 years. It took them 28 years. I don't know how often they met, but I don't think that's the issue as much as that book. being what it is. And indecipherable, I guess it's not, but it's, it's over 600 pages. So 28, what is that, 40 pages a year or something like that? I think it's funny. And they finish, and what did they decide? Let's start it again. That's so funny. That's human beings trying to understand the world around them. I think that's a great thing. And, to go to that reading club once, I think would be really interesting. I'm hardly ever, I've been in LA once for a wedding, and that's it. So I'm just a country boy from the Ozarks. This is the book I taught at Springdale High School. Great, I loved it. Ancillary materials. They had, can you see it? There it is. Smaller sections to read. It doesn't get overwhelming. There's only one picture, but then there's some drawings too. So many ancillary materials, which if you're not a teacher, you don't know about. But yeah, if they have, I really like quizzes for every section, usually 4. Then the chapter test. Can I write those? Yeah, I can write those. But am I great at that? No, I'm not, but they are, because that's what they do. That's their profession, is writing quizzes and tests, including open-ended questions. Why do you think this happened? What might else have happened? It's not just true, false, yes, no. So I love that book. I picked it out. Luckily, I got to choose. It was early in the ESL, English as a Second Language, probably 2001, 2002, something like that. But I loved it. And these people, that hate everything, actually my dad told me that once. Tex hates everything. I'm like, wow, Dad, you were a delegate to the 68 convention in Chicago, and you tried to go to McCarthy instead of Humphrey. You helped integrate the pool in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and a lot of people were probably against that. So I'm sure some people would say, back in the day, he hated everything, like he hated racism. So yeah, I hate racism. I hate people being extremely rich and extremely poor. So yeah, there's some stuff I hate. Global warming. But these people that say, education, not teaching them anything these days. What are you talking about? What do you know? You don't know anything about that. It's like me as a history and government teacher complaining about nuclear power plants, saying, they don't take care of those like they should. They don't have the engineers. The engineers don't know what they're not doing what they should, or talking about dentists. Dentists do this. It's something. What would I know about nuclear engineers or dentists? I know nothing about that. And a lot of people talk about education, and they know nothing about education. So back with Bush and Bill Gates, what was it? No Child Left Behind. It was mainly about high stakes testing at the end of the year. How did your kids do on this one test at the end of the year? Which is a crazy way to teach. AP teachers, I've had AP teachers complain, say, I couldn't do anything. I had to teach to the test. That's all that mattered. If the kid got a 4 or a 5 or a 3, and what college you could go to. So it takes the joy out of learning or education and teaching, I guess. We didn't have a high stakes test in U.S. history. They had them in biology and I think geometry, and maybe, but it was the science and math, quantifiable. Still, our school was 70% free and reduced lunch. So kids from poor families. Many of them worked after school. They'd come to school from 8:30 till 4. They'd go to work from 5 until 11 or 12 and get up and do the next day. Not much energy to study. And many from other countries. High minority where I taught, and as I said, I taught ESL, so a lot of Mexicans, Salvadorans, Marshallese from the Marshall Islands. So this is their second language, and so yeah, I remember a principal once. I like showing my kids off, so they if they did a report, usually as a pair, and a poster with the report on like the Depression or Western movement or Native American tribes, World War II, whatever. I put the posters up in the hallway because I was proud of them, and I think I should have. I should have done that. But I remember him saying, "Make sure they're grade appropriate," and I'm like, "Grade appropriate? I'm teaching 10th grade, and a lot of these kids read like third graders. It'd be like you or me going to, let's say you go to Mexico City, and you don't know Spanish. You're 16, but you're reading like a 4-year-old. Grade appropriate. Luckily, he didn't take the posters down, and neither did I until they'd been up for a while. So, yeah, the idea of education. I loved my school, loved my colleagues, loved my kids, loved my subjects, U.S. history and U.S. government. It's fantastic. It was fantastic 15 years. Loved it. So I have good things to say about public education. Some of this right wing stuff, what's it called, Christian nationalism, people trying to hold on to this idea of their God is the only God and this is the way it's going to be, and everybody else has to kind of toe the line. And we even have to pay for their schools. Um, I read a lot about early America, and that was one thing that they hated was having to pay money for the Church of England. So there was a lot of movement against having to pay money to the church. And if you're paying for church schools, you're paying for the church, a church you don't belong to. They fought that 250 years ago. This is a really good book. I think I had it in college, but I would take some of this and have my classes read it. And you want to be affirmative, and I'd say, "Man, you're reading. Don't tell me you couldn't go to college. That's what you just did. You read. This is from a college book." But one of the stories I really like in here is, one of them is the Whiskey Rebellion, where George Washington held lots of land, thousands of acres. I think he got 30,000 acres from the British for the French and Indian War. He liked land. He was acquisitive. Uh, but there were people on his land, and I remember the quote was, "They're no better than cats or dogs." So it was just kind of interesting. But the one I liked was a mutiny of, what was it, mutiny of 1787, 89? It was at the Pennsylvania State House. I believe the Congress was meeting there. Is that right? It was after the Constitution had been passed, maybe not ratified, but they were meeting. And what had happened a number of places, like Shays' Rebellion, these soldiers had not been paid for fighting in the Revolutionary War, or they'd been paid in Continentals money that wasn't worth anything. And some of them were losing their land. So they fought in a war, they weren't paid, and now they're losing their land because they can't pay the debt. That's some anger. And I believe hundreds of them surrounded the Pennsylvania State House. But what I remember is a bayonet. A guy had a bayonet, maybe more than one. And they're pushing this bayonet in and out of the window. I'm trying to find that story again, but it stays in my mind. These guys are kind of stuck in there, surrounded, and they ask the Pennsylvania governor to help them out, and he goes, "Hey, man, not my deal." So that's when they moved to Princeton, I think. We got to get the hell out of here. And again, that's basically the rich and the poor. The people that have the money, they're doing okay. people that don't have any money are desperate. And desperation, I think, elected Trump more than anything, as people say, I can't afford to live anymore. I can't afford to pay for things. And you make a really terrible decision like he's going to help that. No, he's not going to help that. Raising taxes on the rich will help benefits for Americans without money, or help fortify Social Security and Medicare. But cutting taxes on the rich, the next thing you're going to say is, we don't have enough money. We're going to have to cut Social Security and Medicare. And you're going to see what you did. Why would a billionaire take care of the poor and the working class? It's sad. It's beyond sad. Jack Rakoff? It's been a while. I think I read this. I wouldn't mind reading it again. But I have another book of his over there that's the Pulitzer Prize winner. Anyway, I'd recommend this, and I recommend it to me to read it again. Joseph Ellis, his books are usually a little shorter, 300 pages. Revolutionary Summer, I'm going to guess that's 1776. And McCullum's book, 1776, is really good. Okay, last one. I like to do 7. Maybe anyway, I opened this up the other day, and I don't do it very often. This is kind of like astrology to me, so I take it with a grain of sand, and I think it's basic teachings of wisdom. But this one is called Shocking. The time is like spring, when new growth is aroused by the forces of nature. In human affairs, it can manifest itself as a shocking turn of events, an unpredictable cataclysmic occurrence inspired by invisible but irresistible forces. If your first reaction to this is fear and reverence, then good fortune will follow. Once the shocking event has passed, like the thunderbolt before the storm, the taut readiness of your awareness and caution will be released in joy. Surviving this terrifying force will give you confidence in your ability to deal with all that follows. That's pretty nice. And I see that. I see that today. Don't be afraid. Be aware. Be centered. The foundation is truth and love and caring. It's not greed and money. Do not celebrate great wealth. Try to make sure people have a decent life. And that's not living in a shelter. That's not living homeless. That's not struggling to pay rent and worrying about, I can't pay for medicine. It's a big job to be a human being, a good one. We're seeing that right now. So keep the faith in yourself and each other in this beautiful world. And work hard to understand the issues and the legislation and the law and the politics. Stand up for what's right, not just demonizing your enemy. I think it was Jesus that said, love your enemy. Yeah, love is the way. You fight for what is good and true, equality, harmony, liberty, a clean earth, a healthy people. Yeah. Sorry, a little serious, but feels serious.